Hey everybody, Wayland here. I'm about to prepare a brisket slightly different than my normal way. I want to cook it on this offset for about 4 hours until I like the color, and then I want to go ahead and put it into my pellet cooker. And then I'm going to probably be going to bed. And then I'm going to set the probes to about 180, I think. I'm gonna do 180. And it's gonna wake me up, and I'm gonna come out and wrap it, whatever time that is. I'm predicting probably 2 a.m. And then I'm gonna wrap it in paper like I like to do with a little tallow. And then I'm going to set my probes to 203 and have it wake me up at that time, and then I'll pull it to rest. So we're gonna see how that comes out. All right, my little setup. I've been enjoying this mesquite. I love to save my leftover butcher paper to be a fire starter. I'll put my torch down there. If I don't have butcher paper, I usually just leave the torch kind of running down there on low at the wood. This mesquite wood's been nice, adds a great flavor. I think I've had the funnest time, the best results cooking with this, since I'm often doing cooks half on the offset and half on a pellet cooker. And then this pellet cooker's been great because it has the ability to add the most smoke taste of any pellet cooker I've had, and I'll use mesquite chunks down in the bottom of there. I have other videos about that cooker, but it actually uses pellets and real wood. So pretty cool. You know, again, is just a blast. So I'm gonna get a fire ready. So just gonna add a little bit more to this video if it's something you haven't seen done yet. Brisket trim. You can of course find that kind of content on all kinds of barbecue channels. I'm semi-professional, right? So anyways, I've just done this a lot. I love cooking and eating briskets, and I just fell in love with barbecue a few years ago and just began to cook a lot of it. And then you know, I've been blessed, honored, privileged to cook it for people from all over the US that I work with. And then I've also had the privilege of having people requested from me for their special events, whether it be birthdays or weddings, things like that. My wife, Amber, and I have decided to try to make it into a business, Bumm's Barbecue. So we've had a good time doing that together. She makes the delicious sides, and I handle the meats. So anyways, this is kind of a basic trim job, or one of many kinds. Some people will dig this out because it will be quite a bit of fat left there. I'm gonna leave it because another technique is to go ahead and leave it so that it's all smooth and aerodynamic. That fat should break down and kind of provide some moisture into the meats and stuff too. Sometimes I dig it out, but the way this depends on the brisket. So the way this particular brisket is, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like that. There's a part of this brisket that kind of bulges out here, so I'm gonna take it off and try to round that off. If it's typically, if it's good meat, I will go ahead and keep it and grind it later. And we just made some ground beef, I think yesterday, so that we can use it in spaghetti. Oh my goodness. And sometimes you cut into one, get out of here, and man, it looks like that. I did a Wagyu recently that looked a little bit like that. It was American Wagyu, but dang, this is a nicely marbled piece, which I kind of thought it was. That's why I picked it. Now you got this fat here, these fats that I've cut off that you could totally turn into smoked tallow. So I'm stacking that there so that I can do this into smoked tallow. So I usually cut it into smaller pieces and put it into a foil tray on the smoker with the meats, and it will turn into liquid so that I can spread that liquid onto the meat later and help the meat retain a little bit more moisture. A lot of times people will take this and cut it off, and see this thing sticking up here, that probably won't cook very well. So if you kind of get into it like that, you're gonna have a better outcome. Yes, there's some good fatty meat in there, but the end result is a little better if you go ahead and trim that down. And get the edge on this side, try to square it all up, and make sure you give some of the spare meat to your dog. They will not thank you later, for sure. They may thank you by continuing to dig a hole under your shed and spread your fine grass and dirt all over the place so that it just doesn't go back in right. So, but gotta love it, right? A lot of this is real fatty. Again, I try to trim a lot of the fat off. I try not to put a lot of meat in my fat trims that I want to render to fat. So I try to get the fat off and the meat out. A little bit of meat in this highly fatty meat, it's like whatever. Again, none of this stuff is, you're being too critical. It's no fun to do that. I really, if it's meat I could save, if I had a lot more of this, I would save it and grind it and use it for sausage and stuff. I am remembering why I don't do this outside very much anymore during this time of year. Started just trimming all my briskets inside. Flies are annoying. Now, some people trim a good amount. I'm getting to this part because it looked wonky. I want it to be about as smooth as I can. I get the fat low in the point or the fatty side, which is always kind of this large, thicker side. Can usually be trimmed a little bit more and still stand up in the cook. It is your preference. Some people leave all the fat here is good as the evenly covered. So not my preference. A little bit is fine. I like the fat render inside the meat so that when I take this and bite it, I have enough fat internally. I don't need that exterior fat, and I can kind of taste that meat that's seasoned. Over here, it's more preferable to leave the fat so that the lean meat has a nice barrier and also a layer of fat to help keep it moist. The barrier helps keep it from drying out externally, and of course the moisture helps keep the fat helps keep the meat moist internally. And so definitely just kind of trying to trim this, and so definitely just trying to trim this to get it to where you like. Now, I didn't put this one in the freezer today, but a wonderful technique is to put it in the freezer for a little bit, not till it's frozen and won't be malleable. But if you do put it in the freezer for a little bit, this fat is less mushy and carves off much easier, like working with clay. Right now it's like working with Play-Doh, so not as easy. What are you snorting at? You disappointed that I'm not tossing you some more meat? Not gonna be it. There you go. Okay. So this spot right here is, wow, that fly. Man, undo. What was that movie? They slice the fly in half. Get out of here. Man, they know too. Flies seem so stupid, but why are they seem so smart at the same time? They weren't all out here until I started getting this meat going. Well, I'm sure they were, but anyways, this part's a little ugly. I don't worry about it too much. What you're looking for is to not really have any divots. So right here's a little high, because the smoother everything is, the fat will just run off and not pool on the brisket. But this part's kind of rough, so I'm guessing I'm gonna have some pooling. Now this is really thin and won't make it too far. You know, basically, you know, that's not gonna cook up too good. So I would usually take this, trim as much of the fat off as I could, and then grind it up later and use it for ground meat. I try to make around as edge as possible, but this brisket's a little funny shaped, and since I'm gonna try to get as much out of this for serving as I can, it's gonna be a little bit of a funny shape. Let's see. So, yeah, it's a little funny shape, but I'm pretty comfortable with how this looks. I try to just get these little, you know, string parts off, make it smooth, whatever. It's about to get a pretty long cook, so it seems to go through some sort of metamorphosis anyways as you cook it. I'm not too particular about this stuff. This is always the, I make the, well, this is my downside. I put this side downward. So it's not my presentation side. I can't think of another word for what it is, but this is not gonna necessarily be the pretty side. It'll typically kind of get moved around on the grates. So I'm not too much worried about that. And I think I will take this down a little bit more. See, as you get to carving, you begin to realize where you can remove from. So that stays still pretty flat. Yeah, and it's an ugly shape. It was a poor little thing, but I can already tell this is going to be a good cook and a nice brisket. So that's about how I would trim it up. I'm going to now go ahead and season it up. Okay, I've got put away all the fat and meat. I kept some of it. You know, meat that you trim off is also good for a stew, things like that, chili. So don't think if you don't have a grinder and that kind of stuff that you really got, you know, there's nothing you can do with that meat. There definitely is something you can do with that meat. You can dice it up finer and turn it into tacos, things like that. So anyways, oh shoot. I'm going to say something controversial. They say that the distilled vinegar, the water, the mustard seed, and the salt, the turmeric, and paprika add no flavor to the brisket when you apply it. Paprika is a common spice for brisket. Salt is a common spice for brisket. Look here, garlic powder is in here. That's a common spice for brisket. You're telling me if I apply all those spices in liquid form, whoops, that they do not transfer onto my meat? I mean, are they? I love you guys out there who've been telling us for years adding a mustard binder doesn't add flavor. That is well, I think that we might just disagree on a lot of fundamental things in life. Now look, you guys, I've been buying into it. There's so many of our favorite cooks out there that we watch on YouTube, and they say, you know, this does not add flavor to their brisket. How? I'm adding quite a bit more. Maybe actually, I think I'm sitting here thinking like that's what I get for running my mouth without paying attention. But I got a lot, it's okay. I actually began to appreciate the binder because I found the bark sets better. Like before, when I didn't do a binder, I'd have, I should trim that off. Before, a couple times that I wasn't able to spritz, or maybe the humidity in the air was not adequate. I don't know. I've had where my seasonings would flake off during a cook, but I found when I use a binder like this, it never happens. So I do like the binder. Again, if it's flaking off, it has not bound to the meat. Another thing is setting it for a while. So in order to preserve some resources, although I probably didn't need this much mustard, but maybe it just seems like a lot. In order to preserve, though, some resources, I thought I'd just use the water like others. Or go ahead and sprinkle the seasons on and then let it sit. And so I had for a little while done away with binders and tried an alternative to get the seasonings to stick better, which I found. My wife said, "What are you doing differently to the flavor of the brisket?" And I said, "Nothing." And then I said, "Well, actually, I quit using mustard as a binder." And then I kind of agreed with her. I said, "I thought that, it seemed different, a little bit off." And so I went back to using a binder. Now I like to get an even coat of pepper. You can do this however you want. People like to make these things in a combination. I have just found that I think that I like the outcome better when I layer it. I'm actually gonna do a little something different. This is a butcher's barbecue. Thanks, guys. A friend went to a local barbecue dealer, barbecue supply store. What am I talking about? And a friend brought me this. This butcher barbecue stand is a local place that sells barbecue in Wellston, Oklahoma. They're a little well known in the area. I think they've won some, U.S. championships. I do follow them on social media. I think like Instagram or one of those or whatever. I don't know about YouTube. I'm not sure, but if they have something, but I followed them, so I know of them, and I've been there once, and I thought they were okay. I definitely liked their turkey, but some of the things they did, I thought I did better. Of course, I'm biased, but a buddy gave me this. It's their Texas bark, salt, pepper, and garlic. But as you read the ingredients, it has black pepper, salt, dehydrated garlic, sugar, activated charcoal powder, and then basically an anti-caking agent. So I actually used this one other time, and I kind of liked it, but I didn't use my seasonings. So I want to use my typical seasonings and then add this as an extra layer on top and see how that comes out. So just doing a couple things today like that. So anyways, I like black pepper. I like this. This is secret. Another thing I might usually do is Lowry's too, but since I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna forego the Lowry's today. This is basically a garlic, so whatever, it's not too much of a secret. It's a basic brisket rub is salt, pepper, and garlic. So a little bit of this, I'm going to be adding that too, so I really just want to get a little bit of a profile. I was kind of curious how these things would go together. This isn't really going out as a signature brisket flavor. I'm primarily just trying to cook for the first time. I'm starting later in the day than I have, at least in a long time. Usually in other videos you may have seen on here. If you haven't, please check them out. Like and subscribe. I'm just a idiot part-time barbecuer who has really a passion for barbecue, and I'd love to turn my passion into my business, but I also do have a very good day job. So if I blow up, praise the Lord, I would be happy to be serving barbecue for my full-time job. I think here in Norman, Oklahoma, there is, this is just salt, so I think here in Norman, Oklahoma, there is not a real phenomenal barbecue place like Butcher's. Now, grant me, Butcher's is good. I think, again, we're talking about what's the best around. You definitely should stop by Butcher's, okay? So definitely do that. Definitely stop by Butcher's if you're ever in town. But if I ever have a store open called Bumm's Barbecue, please know that it is going to be the best, at least in Norman, Oklahoma. I have the world's best brisket. I've had people from all around the U.S. come. My day job is a training instructor for the United States Postal Service. This brisket will be enjoyed by some U.S. Postal Service employees tomorrow. We always have a good time. Once in a while, I will bring in a brisket for fun to share with people. It's pretty cool. Some people have never had brisket, but I've had quite a few people that have said, man, I've had brisket from some of these places down in Texas. They'll be not named. I've had friends say they go around to other places outside of Oklahoma in the U.S. and say they still haven't tried brisket as good as mine. So I do have self-proclaimed world's best brisket. Never done competitions, but if you want to bring it, I'd be happy to put my brisket up against yours. Now this is different. So again, adding this, I like this charcoal idea. It's weird, it's black already. So, and when I tried it one other time, I thought it was pretty good. So I'm just having kind of fun. I'd feel bad to have this around and not use it. You know, there's no reason to throw it away. So definitely I did a catering job recently. I didn't use this. This isn't my signature flavor. It's just a good flavor. It's just not bad. I mean, it's salt, pepper, and garlic, and then they add this charcoal, activated charcoal. Now, I don't know. I don't even know what this tastes like. What? You know what? It tastes like barbecue already. It tastes like, I can taste the salt, pepper, and garlic, and then that stuff actually has a almost a grilled taste. I mean, it's charcoal, so okay, not bad. So kind of fun. So I got it seasoned fine. I got a pretty good layer of salt. It looks like the flies didn't like this very much. They sure took off once I got these spices out. So anyways, I've just been jabbering as I season it up and prepare it. Again, nice looking piece. I didn't really do the sides with the charcoal stuff, but I got seasoning on the sides anyways. I'm gonna go ahead and button it up, toss a few more logs on, and then set this piece of meat down there in the cook chamber. looking good. Old Eileen's gonna be rolling some smoke. So I love my Thermo Pro. I'm gonna get my Thermo Pro hooked up and allow that to help me monitor. I love the Thermo Pro. I'm gonna get my Thermo Pro hooked up so that I can monitor temperature ranges. I love Thermo Pro, so I'm gonna get that hooked up and monitor my temperature inside the cook chamber from the comfort of my home. But it has been about 2.5 hours, so let's look at the brisket. Okay, fat's been going in there. Okay, good color. Okay, bark's setting up. Not coming off. Fat still has a way to go. Oh man, it's rendering out in there already though. Okay. Ooh, looking good. Everything smells good. Just in case you're wondering about the chicken, probe to temp. I'm gonna keep that one unsauced. My wife loves hers sauced. So good. Brisket looking pretty good. Okay, tightening up. Good color. Okay, check on this brisket. Ooh! It is getting dark out here, but it's getting dark on this side too. So I'm gonna flip it around, let it go for like another hour this way, and then I'm gonna put it on the pellet cooker. Okay, I am ready to pull this brisket. Ready to pull this brisket, put it on this pellet cooker over here. I'm gonna put a probe in it, and then grabbing the smoked tallow. I can continue to go ahead and let this render in here. Okay. Ooh. Now the problem with videos at night and when it starts to get dark is you just can't see the color and stuff well. This thing's feeling real good though. Go ahead and put the Thermo Pro in. Button it up. Let's see. It's at 158 now. I think I'm interested in letting it wake me up at about 180. I'm pretty comfortable it'd be past the stall, ready to wrap, and then I'll wrap it and let that wake me up at 203. So I've got the pellet cooker running. I've got the brisket at almost 160. And yeah, we're gonna let it go and go to bed. Okay, well, I was wrong. It took until 1 a.m. I like to use apple cider vinegar to keep my paper still and to make it pliable. With the paper a little bit wet, oh, I'm sorry, this is my mixture of apple cider vinegar and water. It really doesn't matter if it's apple cider vinegar. I keep this on hand as a spritz. I didn't use any today on my brisket.
This will make the paper fold much easier. Not use a little tallow. It's been running at 250 degrees. I'm going to kick it back in. I'm going to put it back in and kick it up to 275 now that it's wrapped. I'm also going to do fat down. Okay, I had bumped it up in temp. It's been running at 275. The meat probe says it's 204, but it was really only like another hour, so it jumped from 180 to 204 pretty quick. I did run that fan though to make sure that I had kept the temps a little bit more even, so at 280 there, I'm at 274 with that fan running. 280, 274, so I'm real close in temps. But I need to get that brisket. I need to see if it's probe tender everywhere and temp everywhere. and I will rest this in 150-degree warmer. I'll rest it in warmer at 150 degrees overnight, and sometime around 11, we'll slice into it. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. Come on in, bring it on in.
Bring it on in.
So I've got moisture running down the side there. It looks a little bit juicy. It's got a nice smoke ring. This is the fatty, so within all the muscles there's going to be more fat in your bites per se. This is the lean, so there's more of the part that doesn't have a lot of fat within the muscle. So lean and fatty. Looks like it turned out really good. I can only know if it's very smoky tasting by doing this. It's amazing. Oh, it tastes smoky. It tastes smoky to me. All right. Well, what we'll do is make some plates. So step right up.